Video games are announced all the time, usually making a big splash in the public eye, and sometimes some of them disappear from memory completely after that, whether it be delays, issues in development, or sometimes games just take a really long time to make. There's a variety of reasons why games go silent after announcement. Sometimes it's not always bad, but still, today we're talking about 10 big upcoming games that have gone silent. Starting off with number 10, let's talk about Bayonetta 3. This was announced in 2017 at the Game Awards, blew everyone away. Of course, as you probably know, or maybe you don't know because it was super underrated, Bayonetta 2 was absolutely incredible, leaving fans really kind of foaming at the mouth for a follow-up to the sweet, awesome action combat, and our wish was granted with this announcement, seemingly as a Nintendo Switch exclusive. But all we had gotten in 2017 was like a flashy teaser trailer showing off Bayonetta and just like little flashes of action and a big stylish logo, and that was really it. Truly 100% a tease, and since then we haven't really heard anything at all, and that's been quite a while. Thankfully, we have gotten some kind of word from Platinum Games' Hideki Kamiya and Atsushi Inaba with an interview at GameXplain. They did say that development and workflow changed a little bit because they had to work from home due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but ultimately Hideki Kamiya, as famously short and to the point as he is, said pretty much that development is going fine. But when are we gonna know more? That's the big question, and honestly, we still have no idea. Hopefully soon, because Nintendo Switch can really use an awesome, exciting action game like this. Now over at number 9, we have Dying Light 2, a game that we haven't really heard much of since it was indefinitely delayed. Now, there's not really any speculation on our end. We're pretty sure that the game is still a surefire, definite release. It's probably not canceled or anything like that. We've personally seen it with our own eyes at multiple E3s. It's come along quite a bit. But the studio, Techland, has been pretty straight up and forthcoming about the fact that they just need more time to work on the game. If you might remember, spring 2020 was the goal for release, but quoting them, they said, "We unfortunately need more development time to fulfill our vision. We will have more details to share in the coming months, and we'll get back to you as soon as we have more information. We apologize for this unwelcome news. Our priority is to deliver an experience that lives up to our own high standards and to the expectations of you, our fans." So Dying Light 2 still at this time has been labeled as indefinitely delayed because we don't have a date or any future goal. And since then, it seems like developer publisher has kind of just gone nose to the grindstone, working away on the game and still just kind of on social media promoting the previous Dying Light game, which is still getting content. The way it seems right now is that probably Dying Light 2 is going to just be a full next-gen game on PC, PS5, Series X, fully intended for those consoles only, so we're willing to wait, especially considering how crowded the current release market is. Now, next over at number 8, we have Rainbow Six Quarantine, a seemingly spin-off game from Rainbow Six Siege. Quarantine was initially pitched as an online competitive 3-player co-op type experience. You're going to play as operators from Rainbow Six Siege that you probably know and love, and a lot of mechanics and stuff are coming over from Rainbow Six Siege, but apparently this is going to be its own experience designed specifically around this whole quarantine outbreak mechanic. But in October of 2019, the game was delayed way later on into Ubisoft's calendar. It's as of right now slated for fiscal year 2020 to 2021, and pretty much since that push, we haven't really heard much at all. We've still only gotten like initial little teaser videos of the game, nothing really crazy. Despite Siege carrying on, chugging along, and definitely still having a lot of player interest, it does seem like fans are into Quarantine, but we just need to know more. Now, next over at number 7, according to TechRaptor, apparently we were supposed to get another game in the Alien universe. You know, the famous Alien movie series. Most recently, it had the hit, awesome first-person game Alien Isolation. Well, apparently something else was in the works by Cold Iron Studios. According to the report, Cold Iron Studios was founded in 2015 and was comprised of a bunch of developers who have worked on a bunch of veteran franchises. Apparently, it is not a follow-up to Isolation or anything like that. It is just a shooter set in the Alien universe, and most recently, Cold Iron Studios was acquired by Daybreak. Apparently, they're working on some sort of new online project and a new shooter in the Alien world. That's all we really know. This game has never really been officially announced, but it has been talked about, and there have been murmurs for years. And lately, honestly, haven't heard much. Alien and Aliens freaking rule, though, so we're always going to take a new game in that franchise. Next, over at number 6, we have Beyond Good and Evil 2. Wow. this has been a long journey. So technically, Beyond Good and Evil 2 was kind of announced in 2008. There have been all sorts of rumors and leaks, and then we got a trailer that seemingly featured characters from the original Beyond Good and Evil and teased a new one, and people were obviously super hyped. Then for years and years, things kind of went on as like a back and forth between Ubisoft and series creator Michel Ancel, with apparently a lot of work and a lot of prototyping going on behind the scenes, but nothing really going forward. More leaks of screenshot and art and stuff like that, but really the game had already become a myth by that point again. Apparently at one point, Ancel confirmed that they had kind of shelved the project a bit to work on Rayman Legends, but for the longest time, man, that game was radio silent. And then E3 2017, we got a new look at Beyond Good and Evil 2, seemingly kind of like a completely different game, totally kind of going away from what we had seen in the past, where people thought it was going to be a follow-up to the original, then people thought it was going to be a prequel to the original. Now it seems like a totally different, high-concept, connected universe, open-world type of thing that's always evolving. Really, it seems incredibly ambitious. It's using this new engine developed internally by Ubisoft. It looked pretty damn incredible graphically. It just seems like a wild, ambitious concept where people still don't quite understand what it really is, but it had connections to Beyond Good and Evil. Apparently the composer for the original game is once returning. Things seem really exciting, but since then, we haven't really heard anything, and the newest news is that Michel Ancel, series creator of Rayman Legends, and of course Beyond Good and Evil, and who was working on this new Beyond Good and Evil, has stepped away and retired from game development completely. He has said that the project is in good hands still, but that's all we really know. Chances are they're probably still working quietly on Beyond Good and Evil 2 because it seems like Ubisoft has invested a ton of money in it. Maybe they're kind of gearing it up as a next-gen experience. Maybe we'll find out something at the next E3. Who knows? Just really hope it happens though, because a lot of people understandably love the original Beyond Good and Evil, and to have something else in that universe, in that vibe, would be so awesome. Now next over at number 5, we have Dead Island 2, another game that has really gone through development hell from what we know, and lately we haven't heard much at all. So announced at E3 2014, Dead Island 2 was actually apparently worked on by Jaeger, the developers behind Spec Ops The Line, interestingly enough. We got our first look at the game with a really very over-the-top Dead Island style cinematic trailer and some cool gameplay that looked very much like more Dead Island, but a little bit more vibrant, a little more creative, a little more gory, over the top, with a cool new weapons system, and just generally the series kind of finding its own new identity and foothold. But then things kind of only got messier from there, unfortunately. By 2016, Jaeger Studios was gone, and we knew that Sumo Digital had taken over the development, and since then, over the years, Deep Silver, the publisher, has popped up just to say, hey, yeah, we're still making the game. And then most recently, in 2019, now we know that Dambuster Studios is working on the game. That's an internal Deep Silver studio, and that's it. That's where the train stops. This one has kind of been a running joke for quite some time now. In a world where Dying Light is so great, do we need a Dead Island 2? Can it really do enough to stand out, especially after piggybacking and bouncing around from so many different development studios? Who knows? Now down to number 4, of course, you know we were going to talk about it, The Elder Scrolls 6. This one definitely has been radio silent, of course, but not really for any bad reason. We don't think it's canceled or anything, but it seems like the game was announced before work even really started, and Bethesda has honestly been pretty forthcoming. It was announced at E3 2017, Todd Howard came out and said it, and basically it was an attempt to say, hey guys, yes, we're making another Elder Scrolls game. Please leave us alone. We are going to make one, but just be prepared, it's a ways off. All we really got was a quick little cinematic teaser with a landscape, some music, and a logo treatment. Boom. This is like the company equivalent of, yes, we're making it. Yes, we still own it. Leave us alone, please. Did we need a reassurance like this so early in development? You know, with them saying it's still in the early pre-stages of work? I don't know if we even needed the official confirmation, but it's left people really foaming at the mouth. And since that announcement, really all we've gotten is just snippets of interviews from Todd Howard and Pete Hines from Bethesda. And that's it. Honestly, Elder Scrolls 6 exists. Yes. Have we heard anything about it? No. Is it coming eventually? Yeah. Now down to number 3, if we're talking about another game that we haven't heard much of lately, but we don't think is canceled or anything like that, Starfield. This is Bethesda Game Studios' new, completely original RPG. Bethesda Game Studios more recently being known for Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games. Well, they're trying a new thing here, seemingly a sci-fi, space-focused RPG. We've gotten some leaked screenshots, little snippets here and there, some interviews with Todd Howard talking about new engine work, new technology being made for the game. But with Starfield being announced alongside Elder Scrolls in 2018, that's all we've really heard. We're very excited for it, but we haven't gotten any new bits of information or anything at all from any official sources. It's been pretty silent, but we're still definitely looking forward to it. A space RPG, sign us up. Now down to number 2, we have Michel Ancel's Wild. Yes, the creator of Beyond Good and Evil and Rayman was working on another game. This is some sort of weird open world survival kind of prehistoric nature-y type game. This is created by Michel Ancel's studio Wild Sheep Studios, which is separate from Ubisoft. And in 2014 and 2015, we got some looks at the game, some screenshots, some videos. They've been floating around for a while. It seems like there's been a little bit of a different shift in like art style and stuff like that. Michel Ancel has teased a little bit throughout the years, but of course this is another one where for a while we didn't hear anything, and then all of a sudden we heard that Michel Ancel is leaving game development. He has gone on record about Wild and Beyond Good and Evil 2, like I said, saying that they're in good hands, they're being worked on still, but that's it, that's all we really know. From the beginning it sounded like it was ambitious, very high concept, very creative, very cool, but that's been it. Kind of sounds a little bit like Beyond Good and Evil 2, doesn't it? Now down to number 1, we have Metroid Prime 4. Yes, a game that we are incredibly excited for. It was announced by Nintendo at E3 2017 during their video presentation thing, and people were really excited. The follow-up to the awesome Metroid Prime series. Interestingly enough, at first it was being developed internally by Bandai Namco. It seemed like Nintendo had kind of shopped the game out, and people were a little bit lukewarm on that, and then suddenly, in 2019, Nintendo announced that development on the game wasn't to their standards and that essentially they completely scrapped and restarted development, with the new team developing the game being Retro Studios, the developers of course behind the original Metroid Prime games. So it's almost like a match made in heaven. Yes, it's been many years since those games and studios definitely changed, but still to us it sounds like it's probably going to be in good hands now. Also props to Nintendo for being super forthcoming and transparent about something like that. That is very cool of them, but it's been a very quiet time for Metroid Prime since its initial announcement, and then since its announcement of kind of like a reboot of development, we haven't heard anything. It's been pretty silent, but our fingers are crossed because we just love Metroid. Those are some big games that were announced and then kind of went silent, and we want to hear from you guys in the comments what you think about all these. There's probably some other examples of games out there like these, not games that were necessarily canceled, but could have kind of fizzled out a little bit in the hype department. So we want to hear from you guys down in the comments what you're thinking. Now, if you enjoyed this video and maybe you learned something, clicking the like button helps us out a lot. We would really appreciate that. And if you're new, maybe consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.